Hey everybody, welcome back into Roosters on Olentangy River Road in Columbus, Ohio, the greatest city in the world. Somehow spring football is almost over. The last 2 weeks, we're going to get into all that coming on the heels of Student Appreciation Day and a nice viewing period that Spencer and I had on Saturday. Berm was there too. Now he's on jury duty. So he's missing out.
Like Pauly Shore?
Weasels. He's gone. Just like Pauly Shore. I can't wait to hear about his experience there because Berm on a jury has got to be one of the most hilarious scenarios.
I know. I can't wait to hear about
Will you be delivering him? I feel like he would need to be eating Roosters wings while like they're talking and delivering.
He's like, I've never done this before. That's Justin Zwick, Nicole Cox, Bobby Carpenter, and Spencer Holbrook, by the way. I'm Austin Ward. Big government Berm, just participating as actively as possible on a jury. He was like, I don't know. I've never done this before. Like, I don't think I'm going to be allowed to use my phone, and I'm not going to be able to come down to Lettermen Live. I'm
text high school dudes.
Can't keep up with the dudes, young dudes. But beyond
honor, I have a 16-year-old. I gotta
outside of like 3 or 4 people like sitting at this table, he just really can't stand humans. So I don't know how that's going to work. But I'm so fascinated by it.
That's a great point. The 11 other people he's sitting there with. I would love to hear their thoughts.
Oh, gosh, if he doesn't agree with
I cannot wait
that
to
would
hear
be
this
awesome.
story.
Yes.
So that's going to be fun. So he's gone, and I can't wait to see what kind of case he's on. I hope he's back soon because he's got a chance. I guess he could have to be there for like 5 days.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Right in the
I've never done jury duty.
middle of spring ball.
knock on wood. I
Yeah,
haven't
I've
either.
never been called.
Bob,
I have
you
not.
issued any verdicts on your peers?
My dad has done it before. I never have, unfortunately.
Bobby be another good
Chives
one
is only
just to
15
see.
years old. He's never done it.
I've never been allowed to do it because
he's not old enough.
I have multiple relatives
Because
in law
you're a felon?
enforcement. So every time I get a letter about it, it's just like, no, I can't. Sorry, guys. And I get out of it pretty easily.
I didn't realize that you
Yeah.
could get out of it.
I would like to serve on a jury. I think that would
That'd
be
be
something.
fun.
Kind of fun to go check
Depending
it out.
on what it is. Like if you have an interesting case, I mean, there's some great cases that we know about right now that I feel like
Boy, I would.
here's
It's
some
fun to sit in on.
Oh wow! Like I mean, it's like have you ever sat there and like stumbled on like the first 48 or something? I feel like hey, whoa, this is pretty good.
Yeah, hell, all right.
Next
thing you know, you're 2 hours into it, and
Yeah.
what just happened?
this is fantastic. I just wasted a whole night. Went from like 4 to 6 on a Sunday evening. I don't know what I was supposed to do, but this was way better. So that might be what a jury duty's like. Maybe that or a combination of Judge Judy. I'm not sure.
A lot of cases, just intrigue. Just sit in the courtroom. You don't even have to be on the jury. Just pay attention.
Oh, I've thought about going and just sitting
Just
in the
watch.
gallery. Yeah.
Getting some popcorn.
Well, like when I was playing, I didn't.
Is that allowed?
We didn't have any kids. It's like, what are you going to do for entertainment? I watched all the TV I wanted,
Seen the movies.
and I would ask, like, do people do that? And I had friends like who their dad was like a bailiff. They're like, yeah, people come in and watch. Usually it's family or friends. Like very few.
Did you really go in and watch?
No, because it was like.
Oh my gosh! I was like, to
He's
have
just
that much time.
Bob is a big law buff, and he was like, "Is this the life for me?"
Well, I just want to listen. Yeah, I mean, hear what's going on. I mean, obviously, it's not as exciting as Law and Order. I'm like, I know that, but I'm just looking for an alternative form of entertainment. It was like literally coming down between that and just riding the Coda bus around town.
That would actually be a lot of fun.
But the problem is like not every case is like a murder case.
I don't
Ted
care if
Bundy
it's someone
case,
about
it's like-
taking checks out, like stealing people's mail and writing fake checks. That's fine. That would be entertaining to me. How they did it, why they did it, how we've got the evidence.
How they got
there.
away with
Yeah.
it for so
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
All that,
And those
all
things
that
are
good stuff.
all good.
If they put all that
How they got
energy in towards something legit too,
You got a lot of potential there. Maybe I need. Does anybody want to stand up and say so? I feel like you have a lot of
Letterman
potential.
Live, Letterman live from a courtroom.
That'd be
break
great.
it all down.
We should have done that today. That'd have been great. But I'm worried though that in a week or two, if Jay-Z gets too close to a school, that he's going to. What is going on here?
It's a birthday present for the old wife.
He asked for that?
Well, she wanted the beard gone.
Oh,
So I compromised.
so you went halfway.
Yeah.
I went, more than half.
And how did she feel about that?
There's a lot more hair that was on this face. Nicole, I mean, as you can imagine, she loves it.
She does.
Can't keep her hands off him.
Does she like that better than
7
the
months
beard?
pregnant. I think the beard would probably be her. If she had to pick one, the beard would probably not look as bad in her eyes. But just switching things up.
I mean,
Springtime.
I can't even.
I had to let the chin. I had to let the chin breathe.
Yeah.
And I'm always a little chilly, so I kept the mustache just to maybe help.
lip sweater.
So,
You know what you should have done is took a picture of it, printed it off, and then went to her practice and like had it taped on like one of the walls, a couple of the walls, just so people like, who's that? That's my husband.
That's my husband.
That guy? Okay.
Loving my life.
Exactly.
Right there.
That's his kid? Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I like to do that for Marysville and the Marysville Marathon
yeah,
days, even
yeah.
if it was one day. But like Allie would hate that more. She would just rather see the full beard than just leave.
I would too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, now that it's gone, you know, she doesn't want to wait another 4 months for me to get that beard back.
Yeah.
So, you know, she's just stuck with what she gets. And her birthday's on Wednesday. I might be nice and shave it. I
don't know.
I think it'd be a nice
You know,
gesture.
well, it might be. And that's what I did for Mother's Day last year. I grew a mustache, shaved it for Mother's Day. That was her
Is
Mother's
that
Day
for
gift.
Linda or for?
That was for my mom.
Okay.
I like how you're creating gifts.
Yeah,
like,
right?
That
Very
It's
thoughtful,
really
right,
easy.
Nicole?
Yeah,
Hey, listen,
it's-
I make my own cards. You get a piece of paper, you get a couple markers. I've been making my own cards
Well,
for
good for-
I
10+
would
years.
like that.
Good for one
Oh.
free massage
Yeah.
from Jay-Z.
Make my own cards and come up with different ways to give presents. I mean, it's perfect.
Here's the thing, and like what he's doing, I mean, it's really a great negotiating tool. He is anchoring really down here, so just to get back to neutral, it's like, hey, I just want my normal life.
Yeah.
So
I know.
That's all-
I'm
that's your-
setting
that's
the bar
the
so low.
present.
Yes.
I mean, a
Bring
month
that
ago,
back,
I
please.
said, hey, do you want your birthday present early? She doesn't like surprises, you know. She said, no, I want to wait. I said, you get this beard for another month. And she's like, oh, that's what the gift was. And then I won it. I said, too late. You already answered.
you already answered.
This is incredible. This is the stuff that you've missed for the last couple weeks when you were on spring break.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I
She's
just,
like, oh, this is
I
what
just
missed.
like
Firm-
I can't
firm
even
dressed
think
like the
I'm
lead
so
singer.
disturbed by this.
Firm
Cool.
dressed like the lead singer of Sum 41
Oh,
2 weeks
gosh.
ago
Ooh, that's cool.
for no reason. He got called out as much as he likes to tease me about the way I dress. I don't know what he was doing with the long sleeves underneath the T-shirt.
I love that he
You
did
look
it.
great.
It was good.
I'm so bummed I missed it.
Like 2003 all over again.
So, and then Thayer was in here last week, Nicole. So,
Oh, yeah, you did
Which
miss
was so
there.
nice of him to come. That was
Yeah,
so
he was
nice.
awesome.
But now you're back.
Yes.
How was your spring break?
It was
extended spring break.
It was absolutely amazing. It was perfect. The weather was perfect. And the craziest thing happened. I'm sitting there on the beach with the kids and our friends, and I'm looking at this lady, and I was like, oh, she's cute. And, you know, because you're just sitting there and you're just like people watching.
Judging people.
And then,
Yeah, people
no,
judging.
I don't people judge. I like try to find the positive in
That's
people.
a terrible swim.
And
I
so I
can't believe
looked
she
at her.
wore that swimsuit.
So the oh, she's cute. Probably is what you're thinking about. I can't believe she wear that swimsuit.
Wait. So then,
And Nicole's it.
So then I was like, oh my gosh, she has a Roosters tank top on. And it was Urban and Shelly.
Oh, boy.
Hey.
So Shelly packed this tank top from Columbus, Ohio, took it with her to Siesta Key, Florida, to their home there, and wears it on her walks on the beach, and had a Roosters chapstick in her pocket. I could have cried. I literally could have cried. It was just so sweet. It was so great seeing them. I got the biggest hugs from both. They were so great. They looked so happy, and it was a gorgeous day. They looked like Floridians, you know, so tan. And it was just, she had that Roosters tank top on, guys. I just still can't get over it. It just like made my whole trip. It was so exciting.
Did Urban ask for chips or?
The look on Jay-Z's.
I know. I'm like, what?
He did say he wanted to eat a Roosters when he came back home to see the grandkids.
Because you guys
so.
do there's like you guys do catering there for him during the season, like at
Yes.
some points.
Yes. So he had it every
And they
week.
get to- yeah, they
I've
get-
meandered through the back coach's office. I'm like, what is this? And I promptly got out of the box and grabbed some and then left.
Yeah, we feed the coaches.
apparently
so
need to go down to practice.
That's where all the chips go.
Yeah.
Down to
They
the
do-
Woody.
Yeah.
I think they do have chips there.
they do because
They
it
do.
comes from the catering
Catering.
Yep.
division.
I
I'm
was
going
going to
this
say.
week. When do they?
You should,
Practice
Justin.
Tuesday,
That's
Thursday,
where you
I'm
can
in,
get your
yeah.
chips.
When's
Yes.
the food?
It's Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
Yes.
Done.
And Monday. Tuesdays, I think. No, but
We're
it's
gonna
just
call
during
security.
season.
Get this guy
It's
out of here.
just
Who's this
during
guy with this
season.
mustache? Get him out of here.
Yeah.
Who's the creepy?
Yeah,
it's
who's
me.
the creepy guy?
It's me, JC. I'm on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what list is what they're gonna say.
Don't throw me out of here. I was approved.
Yeah.
I'm a former player. Speaking of days of practice, we can actually talk about some football if we want. Although I do think Urban will be back in college football, at least as an analyst, sometime soon.
Where have
think he'll be
they? Have
returning
there
to
been
Fox.
really? Okay, I haven't heard that yet.
It's
But I just did because I get all my news from you guys.
That's
So great.
That's right. I don't think many people are out there. I don't know that I can't say that it's done. I think it's going to happen again. And I don't think he ever should have left in the first place.
I think he did a great job.
Yeah, he
I
was
really
really
did.
good.
I liked watching him on Fox.
Yeah, he was good, and I think they missed that. There was a drop off pretty significantly to Bob. Stoops.
What is Bob Stoops going to do now?
I don't. Maybe go make some more tequila. I don't.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great plan.
He was coaching in one of those.
Coaching a
weird
bowl
leagues.
game, right?
He was like
Yeah.
the GM of the Dallas XFL team.
Yeah.
Was around for what, like a few months?
Well, the XFL.
Well, they're getting ready
well,
to
the
come back.
XFL is next year. So is that what he's
Well,
doing?
I thought it was the
The
prior
the
XFL.
AAF or whatever.
Maybe the AAF.
AAF.
Yeah.
Well-
Gila, AAF, Fox. I mean, he's got the life.
He's a Renaissance man. So the practice, the Buckeyes went today, earlier this morning on Monday. They are going on Wednesday and Friday, and then you're into the last week, and the spring game is next Saturday. Last Saturday was Student Appreciation Day, and I was worried. It's like, man, are we just going to get them messing around, goofing around? Are they going to have their real practice before everyone gets in there? Got about 10 live periods, Bob,
Oh, yeah.
to break down. So I know you've seen way more than Spencer and I have already, but we got that extended look. Guys going to the ground, live red zone, 11 on 11. I was in heaven. It was Christmas morning.
That was better than just the warm-ups you guys normally
sure
get to watch. And you finally realized that Cade Stover was wearing a red jersey.
Yeah.
So you got that going for him.
I knew he was, but, sometimes if you can't see it with your own two eyes, you gotta be careful with
Well, he had a red jersey on, though, prior to that while you were there. You guys just didn't pick up on that.
It wasn't until that Saturday that he moved. Come on.
No, I know. And believe me, the first time, I'm like, hey, when did this happen? Like, after practice Thursday. I'm like, okay. So I wasn't just someone who was, like, losing my mind
Right.
thinking about that. But him going over there, some of the young linebackers looked really good. And it's great, good and bad. I mean, they've got a number of older guys who are out, and that's given opportunities for young guys during the spring to really get in there and work. And we have Denzel Burke a little bit limited, Cameron Brown a little bit limited. You get to see some of these great young players like Jordan Hancock has really been kind of the ace out there, getting a chance to kind of do some great things against the wide receivers who are so talented. And so he's kind of been that number one corner. And so you pair him with the other two guys that are out. It's like, okay, that's a pretty nice group of three guys, and getting a chance to kind of see Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau out there running around. Like, these guys are good, man.
They're real good.
They're very good.
And that was sort of the debate we were having when we left on Saturday. Is it a concern about the offensive line, or is it just because the defensive line is playing at such a high level?
They've
That's a give and take
got like the problem is, and he knows this, and quarterbacks hate going with the second line in the spring because very rarely are you going to have more than 7 guys you trust going on the field on the offensive line. Occasionally you get an 8th. And this year I think they have 7. Harry Miller would have been that 8.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Josh Fryer.
And Josh Fryer. That's what I'm saying. You have these other guys who would be really good, and then stuff just happens, whether it's injury, whatever. And next thing you know, you have a third-team walk-on tackle out there who, may have been like second-team All-OCC trying to block Jack
Little
Sawyer.
makeshift line. Yeah.
It's like, oh, there we go. Like,
That was the worst part about spring games.
Yeah.
You split everybody up, and you're like, man, I've never had these guys block in front of me before, that sort of thing. Or they have a big win against Jay Richardson or Darian Scott or Will Smith back in those days. Like, give me a chance to throw the ball back here.
They're not going to win that one.
No, it's definitely tough. But I listened to your guys' report, just talking about how the defense kind of looked. And I was going to ask Bob, just, they're learning this new defense and whatnot, but in spring ball, and the offensive line is learning a new schemes or new coaching as well. So is it a little bit easier as a defensive player, pin your ears back as an offensive line or as a defensive lineman, because you guys talked about how the defensive line kind of overtook that offensive line on Saturday. Is it easier for that defensive line, for those guys to say, we know what we have to do here, because they're not in the secondary having to worry about checks or this or that. They're just pinning their ears back coming. I mean, is there some of that in them taking over the day in a practice like that?
I think just number one, the drop between first offensive line and second is here. First D line and second D line is like that.
A little bit closer.
Yeah, and they rotate all those guys a lot. And so, watching Jack Sawyer move around, JTT, I mean, they've really looked good. And those guys have gotten a lot of reps. The thing is, though, too, they've started moving around and putting in some different looks. It's whether it's with the hybrid, Leo Jack position, whether he's just standing on the edge, and you'll go back and look. This is stuff that Jim Knowles did against Oklahoma at Okie State, like moving that guy inside. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you go 4 guys with their hand down, and so it's just different looks. And so there is
making that offensive line almost guess.
The offensive line has to guess, but defensively, there's things that they've had to learn too. This has been a little bit different than maybe what they're used to, but the skill level, and you can watch like the physical abilities of some of those guys, the traits they possess, begin to take over a little bit during practice.
Nicole, you talked a lot about the maturity and mental development and physical development of CJ Stroud as that year went on, and more than he's playing at a very high level from all the practices we've seen. It's ridiculous what he's doing, and it helps that that wide receiving group is so deep. But more than anything, I've been impressed with, okay, after that pro day that he was throwing, he stood out.
Which I heard, yeah.
Talked to the media for 20, 25 minutes. Didn't have to. Wasn't his day, not mandated. And then Saturday, after the Student Appreciation Day, everyone in that building wanted to go see him. And he had a lot of chances where the coaches could get him out, or they sent over a state trooper, like, let's end it.
Send over Jay-Z.
Send over Jay-Z. Officer,
Team Ramrod.
Zwick. And he's like, nope. And he stayed out there till every person had got a picture or an autograph or whatever it is they wanted. That part of it, I mean, he went through some ups and downs. So I know, like, what that means to you, the fact that he takes responsibility of the position there.
I just love that. And that just makes me love
More
him.
than Olave?
Oh, yeah. Well, I look at...
Chris was especially nice on Saturday.
Chris was he was there and doing the same thing.
I love that.
So
That's
that
great
smile.
to know, with that precious smile. But I look at how these players act as a person too. And I think that does have to play into your ability to play as well. Because if you're arrogant and you're not acting as part of the team or talking to the media, I mean, that's part of your job as well. You know, there are different aspects than just what happens on that field. And so to know that he did that, I mean, that just shows how much he's growing to overall. Yeah. So I'm really excited to see him play this year.
Showing that growth.
That's right.
The shower of the growth, which is key, Chives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All those students.
Absolutely. You can't show without growing first. And CJ has grown a lot.
Well, you shouldn't, because that would be... That'd be more challenging.
Oh, all right. But yeah, when you look at the way CJ, if you think back to last August when we talked to him and then into September, you could tell that there was a little bit of the nerves were really building up. And Austin's wrote about this and talked about this a lot about, you know, he had to learn to put the phone away. He had to learn to do a lot of things to clear his head and just be able to play football. Well, once he got the football side of everything, you know, down and was able to just settle into that position, now he's taking that success on the field and elevating himself, you know, overall as a teammate, as a person, as a player. You can see it
As
the
a
way
leader.
as a leader, the way he interacts with everybody in the building. And students, you know, he didn't have, like you said, he didn't have to stand out there. They sent that state trooper over there 5 minutes into his impromptu autograph session, and he kind of waved him off and just kept accepting people to take pictures and do autographs. And those things don't go unnoticed, whether it's from Ryan Day, whether it's from the people in the building, whether it's us in the media. Like, those are the things that make you really stand out, not just as a player, but as the kind of person that this program hopes to have, you know, in its players.
Yeah, it's just remarkable. It's an example of all the other stuff. He was doing it for the first time a year ago. And you can't ever, Jay-Z, you know better than anybody, be fully prepared for what's going to happen with the pressure that's on your shoulders when you're the quarterback at Ohio State. And I think by his own admission, it impacted him more than he would have thought in September. Now, some of those you have to learn how to deal with it, because that's how it's always going to be. And there's more pressure and more expectations now than ever before because of what you did in year one. But, you know, if you can't handle it, it's probably not going to be for you for very long.
Well, and that's – I don't want to take it that far where he couldn't handle it, but, you know, if Kyle McCord would have went out and set the world on fire against whoever he played, you know, things – who knows what would have happened. So, you know, seeing it for the first time and having to go through it for the first time and then coming back and having the success that he had, I think that's why it makes it easy what he's going through now. I mean – life is good being C.J. Stroud. You just threw for over 500 yards in the last game you played. Everybody's talking about you. You're a Heisman guy. People love you. Now, if he would have had fan appreciation the Sunday after that Oregon game, he would have been out there, probably pretty quick. So, I mean, it's easy right now. And that's not to say that it's not great that he doesn't understand it and that he's doing it. And the more reps he gets with the media, I think is great for him, because I think some of that early on needed to – he just says some weird things early on, I thought. You know, just putting some stuff out there that maybe you didn't want to put out there.
He's a runner. He's a track star.
So
not to run.
But, you know, I think it's great. I think it's easy for him now. Now, it's going to be he has all this pressure on him in a way to go out and do it again. So that's, you know, we'll see how it goes once Notre Dame comes into town. Well, to go out and throw for all the yards and then be basically perfect. You know, in some of these games he's played. I mean, the numbers he put up throughout the end of the year last year were just insane. So to be able to do that again, It's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. I'm excited to see he has all the weapons. He has all the. He's going to have a better understanding of the offense. He's going to better understand why he's calling certain plays or what they're trying to get out of it. We talked about it with Justin Fields when he came back for a second year, under the same coach. Yeah, and that's huge for quarterbacks. And he has all the confidence in the world, and it's just going to continue to ascend.
I'll never throw shade at anybody for the choices that they make, but Bill Parcells had a rule where he would never draft quarterbacks that were only 1-year starters. He's like, and that would usually come out early. Maybe if it was a fifth-year senior or something like that, you're at expiring eligibility. But his reasoning for that, and I asked, and Romo was like, listen, there's a big difference. Antonio was like, I took over a job mid-year from Bledsoe. It's like, okay, you go, you have great, like that's the honeymoon. Then all of a sudden the next year, it's like there's expectations with that.
Do it again.
And you have to go through the whole off season managing those expectations for like 6 months, 7 months with your teammates. You've been going out there, being the leader, handling this, going and doing the stuff where, you're out in public and there's 600 people that want to sit there and you have to be gracious. You have to be courteous. And, it's getting old. I guarantee his back was probably killing him by the end. You're getting tired and all those things. But like, that's their one interaction with you. And so for his ability to stand there and do that and continue to put on a good face, infinitely impressive. And that's the stuff that honestly, the things that you don't necessarily have to do that to be a great quarterback. But I think if you have the ability and you do those things, that speaks to the fact that is going to help you make you be a better leader to your teammates. You're going to be around them. They're going to follow you. It shows that you're willing to put in time. And other things aren't more important than football and representing your school and representing yourself. So I'm really excited to see him do all that. I dipped out before it got really crazy at the end.
Because they were waiting for you to do your side.
No.
they sent
I saw all those other.
Over to
I already got some of those guys. They're getting a little chippy there. Some of these young tight ends think that they could go do some work on me, and we might have to remedy that problem at some point in the future.
Ooh.
But
Wow.
I said waiver for 2 or 3 drives next Saturday.
Listen, hey, I don't have a full game.
A long snapper played linebacker in the spring game last year.
A fullback played linebacker for Ohio State on an undefeated team. I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened in this world. It doesn't mean they've all been necessarily amazing.
I think you're allowed to do it. Let's make it happen.
I don't think you're
He's
allowed
done
to do
it
that.
before.
Well, they changed the rule.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they changed the rule. I would love to go out there, and we'll see. I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll have to meet in a park somewhere.
Don't you have your COVID year, Bob?
I'll be the
I
the
do.
quarterback.
I did get a COVID year back. I mean, that's what I was looking forward to. But other thing, too, man, the catches those guys have made are ridiculous.
The wide receivers.
I mean, it's not even real, some of the things I've watched. And by the way, I'm over there on the players' side. How did your boy Tim May slither around? I'm there talking to one of the coaches, what's going on?
Hey, Bob.
Hey,
Coach Bob.
it's like, Coach, you a recruit? And I'm like, oh my God, I look over my shoulder, and Tim had gotten on the far side somehow and is behind me, and then sits there, pulls us just us girls talking, and has a 10-minute conversation.
That's a Tim May.
Oh, 100%.
Tim May has an all-access pass everywhere.
How did you get over here? By the way, you know how he got over there? Because he didn't have a credential on, so it just looked like he was supposed to be part of the deal.
As long as you act like you know what you're doing, right?
So true.
He was actually jealous of me because I went down and just walked all the way behind the end zone down on that east side so I could get the all-22 look.
He usurped one up to you.
And
I see your
he was
move.
like, how'd you get down there? I said, I'm down there calling touchdown or not. They missed the one in the corner there for Marvin Harrison, and Keon Graves gets a football foot down in the back of the end zone. I'm just helping them out.
You guys have to teach me how to do that because I'm such a rule follower. I'd be too nervous that I'd be like, I'm not allowed over there.
Act as
And
well.
They're
I
gonna
wanna
kick
learn
me
how to
out.
do it. I want to do it.
I've learned from Tim and now Austin, and it's been the best part of being here is learning where you can and can't go, and then learning where you really can and can't go because
We can just make it up.
That wasn't your favorite part of Saturday.
when you need to. Well, everybody's getting kicked out of the Woody, and the one redcoat comes up to Austin and says, "Guys, you have to leave. Media needs to get out of here." And Austin politely says, "Yeah, no thanks. We're going to wait for the SID to kick us out."
Oh, that's so mean. Those people are so...
They're just there to do a
They're
job.
so
I'm there to do my job. And I said, I know you have a job to do,
Yeah.
but no thank you.
Thanks, but no.
With all due respect.
I can't. Those people like me. The Redcoats, I know most of their names.
I like that because I love them.
I'd never seen this one before. He had a Jay-Z mustache that was all white.
I'll have to tell him, hey, you get me, I'll perp walk him out of there.
I said, I'm here to do a job.
It'll look like trying to throw
I'm going to give you Rooster Bucks to pass out
we
to
did
them.
still
I
have-
love the Redcoats.
the-
We did still have some folks we were trying to talk to, and
You better not be giving it to my boy JR.
No.
I mean, JR is 83 years old, and he's a marvel.
JR mistakenly left the facility too early, and the media had to actually let him back in. So that was
Come on back, JR.
That was a real turn of events. So Saturday, from start to finish,
I'm the red coat now.
yeah,
Come on in.
Saturday was awesome and a great time all around. And we learned a lot more, and we're going to talk about that in the second half of the show after Nicole gets
Fried
out
pickles.
here. What do we
Fried
have? What do we
pickles.
have here, Jay-Z?
Fried pickles. $2 Tuesday appetizers.
Yep.
What's awesome is the fact that we've got the supply chain figured out. We're back on our
I
normal
think so,
app-
guys. I
app
don't want to jinx
rotation.
it, but I think it is.
mac
I
and
think
cheese
it's
bites are back.
Yeah,
Yep, they are.
they're all here. So $2.
Everything but the chips.
Well,
I know.
we're working
I've
on
given
those
up.
quality control issues, Chives. We're gonna. Nicole's. I mean, she's the ops person you want, hammering that thing down.
I don't know. I just keep putting in the requests. I just keep saying we're still getting requests for them, and I'm one of the requests because I love them.
Perfect.
They're so good.
Yes.
And then they can be a featured appetizer maybe sometime.
You could even
Oh, yeah.
put a little
We used
cheese
to.
on them, put them in the
Oh
oven.
yeah,
get
you
some,
can make them all sorts of different ways.
Yeah,
They're the
I mean,
best.
There's all kinds of
Cheesy bacon chips.
So the
good stuff.
catering division has the chips. So we'll just leave it at that for now.
Okay, what else is going on at Roosters this month?
That's it, guys. Just spring game.
Well, you could
and-
come and watch the national championship
National
game
championship,
on
yeah.
Monday night.
Yes.
If you're going to be up,
That could happen.
At
Sorry, guys.
9:20.
I stopped caring because my bracket was over as soon as Kentucky
Come
lost.
watch the
so
Masters
right
here.
at the beginning.
Ooh, the Masters this week.
All
Yeah.
week.
See if Tiger can make it through the 4 days.
Make it through one day.
Well, if he can,
See if he even gets
gets
out.
through the par 3.
He'll get out there.
Still a lot.
I think he's playing.
A
Is
lot
he
of
the oldest golfer? No, not for the Masters.
Just the most beat up. That's-
Yeah, he's just
Yeah.
has the most surgeries.
He's been
Because
through some
once
things.
you've won a Masters, you can play
you
in
can
that.
play in
It's a
Tiger.
lifetime exemption.
I was getting him confused. I remember that now.
So there's guys out there that they go, they know they won't make the cut, that'll still play.
Okay.
It's Masters week, NCAA championship game on Monday night.
Opening day on Thursday.
Oh,
Austin?
guys, and huge congratulations
baseball?
to the women's team
Yep.
too for winning. They won.
Got to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, you weren't even
It was
here
just
when
exciting.
the women's,
Oh, the women's hockey
team
team.
won the national
I did
championship.
that too. Like it's just so exciting.
The standard is the standard.
The synchronized swimming.
I don't know if I believe
Somebody
that.
won
Like, we
another
threw
one,
that in
right?
there.
Yeah.
Synchronized swimming and pistol.
Yeah.
Synchronized swimming is like
synchronized
29
swimming.
years in a row or something crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
All
That's
we
a
do
bit-
is win
really
championships here
exciting.
at Ohio State
Well, not always, but
in other sports.
we don't have to talk about that yet again. We're going to let Nicole get out of here. We kept her long enough. She's very busy. We're going to be right back.
Been on vacation for 3 weeks, Austin.
Yeah.
I know, right?
That's why she's
a lot
got
of
to get back
emails
to
to
work.
read. Yeah, a lot of emails to get back to.
Her phone won't stop buzzing. She's got to get back to work. So we're going to turn her loose. We're going to be back. We're going to have a lot more Letterman Live. It is brought to you by Roosters. It's a fun, casual joint.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint, but the truth is, it is so much more. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. It's a place where you will always find a friendly face. And the home of wings so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. So yeah, we're a lot of things to a lot of people. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Precision engineering, rigorous attention to detail. A Bryant Evolution heating system is so well designed, it's as much of a joy to install as it is to use.
Good to go.
For the dealer nearest you, visit Bryant.com.
All right, welcome back into Roosters. It's the second half stretch run here, and spring ball winding down. It's been great.
Kind of like the midway point to me. I know we have the
But
extra.
it feels deeper than that. Like,
Well, that
How deep does it
hopefully
feel?
that is hopefully the case. All right, when you're into week 2 and you feel like finishing what I'll call week 2, because I don't count the 2 days at the beginning,
Pre-spring break.
pre-spring break, where they get them out there, the acclimation days, no pads,
Yeah.
and so I don't count those. So if you're telling me that it feels deeper because of that, then that's great, and so it's going to carry on. It's going to pay some dividends later.
Yeah.
But this is kind of the midway mark, and now they're switching to their Monday, Wednesday, Friday from the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday practicing.
Yep.
And then next week they taper off at the end, but you still kind of have one more big push week before you get to that coaches clinic weekend and finally the spring game. And so looking at this, especially with some of the freshmen and then the early, I'll say, I guess, rising sophomores and then early enrollees, you can kind of start to get a feel for, okay, these guys have about 5 or 6 practices under their belt. You can see they're kind of starting to settle in, and not that they're never going to make a mistake, but just I'm always curious, like how guys move through space. Like, are they becoming more decisive? Do they look confident? Do they look like they have the requisite athleticism and like explosive twitchiness, whatever it might be, to be able to get it done? And like the 2 freshman linebackers, as we were just talking, like Gabe Powers and CJ Hicks, like I think both of them look good. I know a lot of people really love CJ. I was kind of curious where Gabe would fit. I didn't know if maybe he could grow into like the Leo position, if he would really be able to play backer, in this. And both of those guys I thought moved very well, looked very instinctive. And then like you pair that up with some of the older guys, I'm like, man, this room I think has a chance to be leaps and bounds better than potentially it was last year. Because I know you guys haven't got a chance to see much. Like Tommy Eichenberg, I tell you, the dude looks really good.
Right.
Like looks really, really stinking good, and he's only going to continue to get better based upon where he was at the start of last year. And it's kind of the same thing with Steele a little bit. He's been making some nice jumps too. Not that it's perfect, but you see a lot more good with some of those elite plays, and they've begun to limit the just plays like what just happened.
Right. Mm-hmm. And part of that too, when you're weighing for Cade Stover, what's the best place to play? What's the clearest way to make an impact? Well, I mean, you see that sort of logjam building at linebacker, which is hard to believe based on where they were last April to now, where they were in the Rose Bowl.
He just moved over there, really, right? Yeah. I mean, and he's already back.
Yeah, because you've got another guy, Reed Carrico,
Reed's been looking good too.
He was got there with the first unit in the 4-3 looks, playing some Sam. I'm not sure how much that package is really going to be used unless you're playing Wisconsin, but that's still significant because the depth and talent of that unit is now growing, and you have a year of development and off-season program and experience for a lot of these guys that they looked disorganized last year. And I think more than anything when we've been in there, and I said this on Saturday, it just feels like there's a plan in place for that defense where as much as everybody loves the personality of Kerry Combs and the great recruiting success and the position coach work that he did, it's a different task to be the overall leader of a defense. And I just think that Jim Knowles has been doing that for so long that experience and the way he teaches is showing up. And there's still a long way to go.
I think there's also the level of these kids have never done this before, so everything's kind of ratcheted up a little bit. New coaches, new personalities, new schemes, new everything. So I think that might have something to go into this. Last year, the year before, same guys, maybe a little more lackadaisical through their winter workouts. We're winning. Things were good last year. Then you end with a Michigan loss this year. That fuels the offseason a little bit more. I think if you were to ask the guys, was this offseason different than last offseason? I think they'd probably say 100%. Right. And now you have different coaches, different people coming in the building, but I think just the mentality of coming out in this, 6 a.m.s, winter workouts, spring ball was probably, 180 from what it was last year or two.
The edge is back?
Well,
there's no signs that say, what have you done to beat the team up north?
One of the most interesting things that I heard so far was sitting down.
It's been like 700 days since Ohio State beat Michigan.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
It's been too long for them, and they know that. So Luke Whippler is in there for breakfast on Thursday in the Woody, getting ready to practice.
Elite players eat breakfast.
You
heard the story.
Georgia had a Gatorade shake for breakfast in college that I stole from the Wick.
Georgia gets schmears on their bagels, and that's the big difference. So you take note of that.
It just matters more.
You eat a healthy breakfast. And BTN is on the television screens up there at the training table, and they're showing the game in 60 minutes. And Luke Whippler says, that TV almost came down.
I would have loved it. He was sort of just throwing a glass at it.
Break it, rip it down.
That would have been a Bob Carpenter move.
I mean,
get this off.
Turn this off. No.
Practice was over. It had been like 3 or 4 hours since that happened, and like Doug Lamarice and I are standing there, and like, you seem pretty upset and worked up about this still. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm angry." I'm like,
Well, there's a difference between saying you're angry and actually being angry. And Luke Whippler looked pissed off. Like it was. This was.
He didn't say, "Yeah, I'm angry." Wink.
No, it was, it's just not like, yeah, we're still pretty mad about that. No, like he had that look in his eye, like, yeah, I'm
because you have to listen to that Jackamoke up there, sit there and just have the nonsense of everything that happens afterwards in the third base comments and just the toughness and all these different things, and then the spring game circus that they've got going on up there.
What?
Bringing in cats to throw at
what is that?
Spencer's like showed me a picture of the crowd that they had in the big house. I'm like, there's more people in the Woody than are watching that team. Like,
Is that the spring game?
That was their
I
spring.
thought it was a spring game.
And
They threw at halftime, right?
yeah,
Yes, but I'm like, there weren't enough people there to be the spring game.
because they don't publicize their program. They don't do media availability a couple times a week. They just let this guy do whatever he wants, and he wants to work completely.
Well, he used to want to stay over at dudes' houses and climb trees and throw with his shirt off. Those days, I guess, are over, though.
But I just don't understand that part about their program. Like, a lot of what fuels the success of Ohio State is the size of the fan base and the investment that they feel in it. And that includes a day like Saturday, and it definitely includes one like next Saturday. And if that happened in the Horseshoe, like,
if there was less than 50,000 people at kick, I would be very disappointed. I don't care if it looked like that trash did today, where it's like, you remember.
We had sleet and snow one
and
year.
there was still 50. Now, everybody promptly left after a quarter.
Yes.
But at kick, you still had 50 to 60,000 people there for a day that nobody wanted to be outside.
Exactly.
I mean, in a meaningless environment, no one wanted to be out there. And it was still, two-thirds to three-quarters just full. And you're like, okay, like, this is impressive. This is how it should be.
This is Buckeye Nation.
Yeah.
We don't want to be here. You definitely don't want to be here. You're sitting in the stands.
Early forecast for next Saturday shows 59 and rain. So it's
Perfect.
not going to be a great day.
that'll blow through.
But I still expect there to be at least double, if not triple, the amount of people that were in the big house. I know the big house is huge.
There's going to be way more than triple.
No, I know the big house is huge. So even if there's 10,000 people in there, it looks like 2,000. But that was like
but it's
laughable.
I think it's
It's
significantly
not that much
larger
bigger than the
Ohio.
Horseshoe.
I'm just saying that was like
Maybe
laughable.
5,000 to
how few
8,000 people,
were
maybe
there.
different.
Ohio State's not a capital, dude. I mean, their stadium
that was
might be like another 10,000 seats bigger. I wouldn't.
No, I'm saying like when you look at it, it looks like I don't know. It
Looks
seemed
like-
like there were like 2,000 people there.
Oh no, coach.
And I'm expecting like at least, like Bob said, 60, maybe even 70,000 people with this spring.
Well, when you're having Kaepernick throw at halftime, you figure people will come out and see it. But
we're good. I'm seeing 60 and partially sunny, 24%
It's
chance.
going to
of
be
rain.
gorgeous next weekend.
I mean, but even that, I envision no scenario where there would be less than 50,000 people in the stadium.
Yeah.
And so I think if that was ever the case, you would be disappointed. And because it's a lot of chance for people to get there. Maybe you can't afford a normal game or, fall sports or whatever it is. You can come out there. And I do like they've tightened it up. Part of the reason ours spring games used to look so sporadic at the end because they were 3
hours long.
oh gosh, yeah.
3 hours. That was, coach, it's fourth quarter's clicking up at that point.
Got some commercial TV timeouts.
I mean, they wrap this thing up. It's, a nice first half that's about 45 minutes, quick halftime, stay on the field, boom, and then running clock in the second half. You're out of there an hour and 45, 2 hours, and it's all good. And so they keep it moving. And because I think they get, we've had the little dog and pony at halftime with Cardale coming out and throwing and doing different stuff.
They actually bring back Buckeyes that the home fans might want to watch. That was another.
Yeah.
That guy didn't play for Michigan, so I don't really.
Yeah.
I think Jay Cutler's going to throw this year at halftime.
Is he? All right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
It's an interesting choice. But Vanderbilt's got their own spring game, so he should just
Yeah, you should
go put on a show there.
go.
No, but who else?
Interesting.
Maybe who else? Who was on the staff? Like when Ryan was in San Fran and Philadelphia, like who were their quarterbacks? Sam Bradford. I mean, could bring Sam Bradford
Alex Smith.
Was Nick Foles in Philly yet?
in. Nick Foles. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. You could bring one of those guys in and just why? I don't know because I coached him in the
Just
NFL.
because I knew him.
Come here and have him throw.
Help
Like,
him get a shot.
I mean, it's just
That's interesting.
whatever. They can do whatever they want. But I know that the guys are fired up about it. And I've been very impressed with how well they've looked, how well they played this spring. And I know the defense, they still got ways to go. And seeing that live stuff with the tackling, but like another guy, young guy, Kai Stokes, who,
Oh boy.
yeah, I mean, I'm over there listening to Ronnie Hickman, like, get his black stripe off, and CJ Barnett. I was like, hey, I mean, he's practiced one day. It's like when someone had a great, he called it a PBU. I go, dude, he was in coverage, but the guy dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, you actually have to like get a hand on a ball or dislodge it.
One of
from
the
him.
DBs that celebrates really bad, really big after the receiver drops the ball.
He's been playing really well, but someone had a great catch. I'm like, oh, get his stripe off. I mean, it takes more than a day and a play to get your stripe removed. But Kai Stokes has looked really good. And like watching those young defensive backs, it's been awesome to kind of see how those guys have developed and grown. You know about the receivers, you know about the running backs. Offensive line's got some work, obviously, but it's the Cade Stover thing. Because I'd like to go back to that because you brought it up and I kind of threw it into you there. But his ability, I think, to play at the next level at tight end is real. I think what he can do, with him and Rossi, and all of a sudden then, Royer, you've got G. Scott. Like, you can get into some personnel groups with those guys that you don't really see. And this is the one thing that separates Ryan Day from a lot of other coaches. Everyone sees the spread and this and throwing the ball. And Justin Fry's the same way because he's an NFL. He's been a guy that understands elaborate blocking schemes. You can get in 3 tight ends or 2 tight ends and a fullback and do some things when you have athletes like they do at tight end, where you can flex G. Scott, you can flex Roy. Like, all of a sudden now you've got some matchup issues, and then you have guys like Rossi and Stover who are hammers, and so you can also run the ball out of those things, and you can mix and match these groups to really give you a huge advantage. Like Cade Stover being in there, if he can be a dominant force on the edge of the line of scrimmage, their ability to run the ball will be through the roof. And he made a nice catch the other day in practice. Like, dude, if you can give us that and that, like, you're a number 2 tight end in the NFL, and you can do that for 8 to 10 years, buddy.
What I found was interesting about that, because you're talking about what Ohio State and the tight ends can provide in the season. If you're looking at it right now, I would say relative to the rest of the roster, that group is the biggest concern.
Most question marks.
Because, G. Scott was not out there for all of last week. Mitch Rossi is still trying to recover from that shoulder injury that he finally got cleaned up. So those two are obviously not in the equation, and you assume that both will be back by the fall. And G. Scott was back at practice today, just for the record. But, right now I would say.
You a Reuters fan?
Probably more than Berm. Because
why does Berm? Because he wouldn't talk to him.
Because he wouldn't talk to him. He's one of the dudes who wouldn't talk during recruitment. One of the only ones, by the way. But
did you talk to anybody else?
I don't think so. Well,
no. Everybody tried to pull up in the vans, and Royer's like, "Nah, I don't."
It's good. His parents said,
Royer
get out here
asked,
with your candies and puppies. I'm not getting in.
Yeah.
Royer asked for and received a commitment graphic, and then Berm never heard from him again. So
got him.
That doesn't happen very often.
I love it.
I think they've talked in the last couple of weeks a couple of times. I think they're trying to mend that bridge.
Yeah.
An olive branch the other way, because he does have some of that Ruckert-like ability. And
he's a good athlete.
Trying to become more the all-around guy. And I think if you get that from him, and Cade Stover can give you Luke Farrell things, well, then you're talking about that offense from 2 years ago, and opens up a lot of different pathways and opportunities for diversifying and adding more flexibility to the attack. Now, we'll see if that happens. I mean, Cade's been back there for a week.
Yeah.
Well,
and it comes back to, we've had Jeremy Ruckert for the last 4. He was here 4 years, right?
Yep.
We've had guys who were the all-around, or we thought this is going to finally be. It's always like we go into the season, who's going to be the tight end? We're going to use the tight end a ton this year, and then we don't.
Yeah.
So it's like
womp womp.
We just don't have that hype guy so far this year.
Tim May,
because it doesn't matter in the end.
Tim May is the hype guy for the tight ends. He's been calling for it for the last 20 years.
Ever since
40 years.
Since back in our day, I'm sure.
I think he's been writing it.
But the one thing, too, about that is it's a little bit personnel based. But I was just on a podcast today with Greg Cosell, doing some NFL draft prep, and he's like, "Hey, who's someone at Ohio State that you think has kind of been underrated?" And I'm like, "Oh goodness, we just talked tight end,
Cade Stover.
No, not Stover.
Joe Royer.
No,
Ruckert.
Jeremy Ruckert. We're coming.
Oh, current draft.
Current draft.
Well, because he hasn't been able to do anything.
Well, I said that's the thing. I go, he's a really good athlete, and you watch him run, but like, you don't really watch a guy run routes if he doesn't catch the ball regularly. And so I'm like, Ruckert can run routes. He's got good hands. And I go, his blocking got infinitely better every season. I'm like, he's going to probably get way underdrafted just because nobody sees it, and someone's going to watch. Like, you know what? Like,
I can't believe they didn't use this
They
guy.
never threw it to him.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's kind of the case. It was like with Hireman and
Happens
Vanette.
all the time.
They always get to the NFL. Like, Hartsock played for like 12 years. Like, this guy's better than what we thought. Why did they never use him? And ultimately, I think that's going to happen with Ruck. And so I'm just waiting for hopefully one of these years, like, you know what? We don't have to wait till the bowl game to throw the ball to Luke Farrell. We don't have to wait till Hireman is against Michigan to catch seam routes. Like, let's get those guys involved earlier, and it'll make it easier for everybody.
But then you don't have the element of surprise, Bob.
That is true, because as a defender, when you're looking at the scouting reports, like,
when you know they're not getting the ball through.
This guy's caught 3 balls and been targeted 8. Don't worry about it. It's week 10. They're not going to throw him the ball.
That's right. Hello, Clemson. Surprise for you.
Yeah.
Long way to go until the Buckeyes get back on the field. But there is a spring game coming in a week and a half. Really excited for that. Student Appreciation Day was awesome as well.
What are we doing for the spring game?
We'll just blow it out. Let's make some huge plans, Bob.
Okay.
We're going to get Roosters to cater it, so there'll be some chips.
Awesome.
We'll talk to Nicole about that.
I'll be there.
Come tomorrow to Roosters and get fried
pickles
for $2. Jay-Z, if Jay-Z doesn't take them all.
Oh, I'm going to take some. I've already eaten one.
One basket already down?
Yeah, it's
All right.
close.
Okay, well, that's good.
Ish.
And I think everyone should just have another great week. There's going to be a lot more Ohio State coverage coming at LettermenRow.com. Thanks to Nicole Cox for having us back in here for Letterman Live at Roosters. That's Jay-Z, Bob, Chives. I'm Austin Ward. We'll see you next week for Letterman Live at Roosters. It's a fun, casual joint.